look at the second day of completing the square. So the first thing we're going to see, do you remember how to find the vertex of this parabola? And some of you might remember x is the opposite of b over 2a, and our y value of the vertex, we have to plug in the x value. So our vertex here, let's see here, it's 1x, so a, b, and c. So x value equals the opposite of b, so negative 8 over 2 times our a value, which is 1. So negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. And then our y value, so we have negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 minus 10. So let's see, this is 16 minus 32 minus 10, so we have negative 26. So our vertex is the coordinate negative 4, negative 26. So we're going to do a couple things with these problems. We're going to complete the square and we're going to write it in vertex form. And we'll talk about what that is in a minute. So first we're going to remember, how do you complete the square? Well, we have to add 6 to each side. So we have x squared plus 2x equals y plus 6. And we're going to complete the square over here. So we're going to add that b over 2, or if you need that picture, so we have our x squared. Oops, that got a little bit messed up. Let's try that again. So we have our picture. So we have x squared and 2 x's, so x and x, x plus 1 plus 1. So this is, we have to add 1 squared to each side. So x squared plus 2x, that formula, we're adding b over 2 squared equals y plus 6 plus 2 over 2 squared. So what does this factor into? X plus 1 squared equals y plus 7. Now, vertex form of a parabola. Vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And this is where h and k, that's your vertex. So we almost have this one in vertex form. We can subtract the 7, and we have x plus 1 squared minus 7 equals y. Now, let's see if we get the same thing if we do our opposite of b over 2a. So our other way is x equals the opposite of b over 2 times a. So our x value is negative 1. So y would be negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 6. 1 squared minus 2 minus 6. So 1 minus, so we get negative 7. And so our vertex is negative 1, negative 7, which we could get from either of these because that's plus 1, so it's minus 1, and then we have the minus 7, your h and k. So let's see if you remember how to do this one. Solve by completing the square. So we have to divide everything by 2. But when we're solving, we want to find out where it crosses, so this would equal 0 over here. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 3 over 2 equals 0. Subtract the 3 over 2. So now we have x squared plus 4x equals negative 3 over 2. And we add that b over 2 squared, or we have our picture, x squared, 2x and 2x, x plus 2 plus 2. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 over 2 squared equals negative 3 over 2 plus 4 over 2 squared. So we have it factors into x plus 2 squared equals, let's see, negative 1.5. Well, let's leave it as a fraction. So we got negative 3 over 2 plus 16 over 4, so this is really negative 6 over 4 plus 16 over 4. So we have 10 over 4. Square root each side. So x plus 2 equals square root of 10. We square at the bottom over 2. Our x plus 2 equals negative square root of 10 over 2. Subtract our 2. So we got x equals square root of 10 over 2 minus 2, or negative square root of 10 over 2 minus 2. So now what we're asked to do is find the vertex. And this one's a little trickier to do with completing the square because we have to divide out the 2. So if we have to find the vertex, and we're going to say write in vertex form. I'd recommend, let's write what it does, 2x squared plus 8x plus 3. I'd recommend, let's do that negative b over 2a business. So we have negative 8 over 2 times 2. So we have negative 8 over 4, so that's negative 2. So y equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 plus 3. So let's see, 4, so we got 8 minus 16 plus 3. So we have it equal to negative 5. So our equation, cross that out. Sorry, this is a mess. Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. We have our h and k, so y equals a x, since it's minus 2, plus 2 squared minus 5. But we have to figure out that a value. So we need some other coordinate that we can plug in here to find a. Well, we just need another x and y. So what about when x is 0? 0, 0, y equals 3. So that's pretty easy. We could plug in 3 equals a, 0 plus 2 squared minus 5. So 3 equals 4a minus 5. So 8 equals 4a, so a equals 2. So our final equation would be 2x plus 2 squared minus 5. So let's try, I think you guys are getting pretty good with completing the square. So if we have to solve it, let's set it equal to 0. Let's make our coefficient just x squared. So we have x squared minus 2x. If we move that, negative 7/3 over there. So we have x squared. So here's our picture. It equals negative 7/3. So this is minus 1 and minus 1. So we're adding 1 squared to each side. So algebraically, minus 2x plus b over 2 squared so this factors into x minus 1 squared equals, let's see, negative 7/3 plus 1 would be negative 4/3. Square root each side, and it looks like we have some imaginary ones. So we have to pull out that I, x minus 1 equals the square root of 4/3 I, x minus 1 equals negative the square root of 4/3 I. And then we add the 1, so x equals, and we could switch this to 2 over the square root of 3i plus 1, and x equals negative 2 over the square root of 3i plus 1. Now the last one we have to find the vertex. So we got 3x squared plus 6x. And the last thing we had, minus 6x plus 7.